Hello, Namaskar, Adab, Sasyakal, Kasakai, Kedo Halai, Kem Cho. Welcome to Spotlight with Abha, and I'm your host, Abha Jada. Friends, during past 1 year, almost all of us have gone through the side effects of COVID period. Yes, due to the deadly virus, many families have lost their only bread earner. On the other side, due to continuous lockdown and restrictions, each and every businesses and jobs have got a brutal blow. So today, I have brought a fitness trainer for you. Oops, not a gymming expert or dietitian. I'm talking about a financial fitness trainer who will not only guide us on how to manage our finances, but also some excellent tips on how can we grow our wealth and become financially fit. So please help me welcome Mr. Vivek Gangadhar, a chartered accountant from Bangalore, Karnataka, India. Welcome, Vivek, to Spotlight with Abha.
Thanks so much, Abha. So first of all, it's such a wonderful opportunity that you have given me to reach out to audience through your wonderful work that you're doing online. And I hope this message is what we're going to discuss today. Reach out to masses at large, because finance is not difficult. It is made difficult. A lot of terminologies are put in. It's like, it confuses. And the education system that we have currently, that what each and every one of us have gone through, it has actually added to more confusion. We get knowledge, but not the skills required to really, manage it easily and independently. And that's exactly what my goal and vision is, to, make it, money is made very easy for you through Vivji.
Wow. So friends, before Vivek takes us onto our financial fitness journey, let me give his brief introduction. Vivek Gangadhar, who is popularly known as Vivji, is a seasoned financial advisor, a chartered accountant at 2 decades. He has helped around 1100 plus people to simplify their personal finance. While he takes up speaking gigs at various events, he brings out in people the most feared aspect of money and gives simple yet long-lasting solutions to them. His story is not a rosy one. Have failed in 3 businesses and losing his father at prime of his youth, he learned finances through various experiences. He believes that no one has to ever go through any financial struggle if finances are taught in the most interesting way and people learn from the right mentors. Wow, what an inspirational journey so far, Viji. So without wasting any time, without spending any extra minute in other things, let me straight away start our financial fitness lesson with you. So to begin with, in 2021, what steps do you suggest for entrepreneurs and corporate professionals to maintain healthy money flow?
Wonderful question, Abha. So let me handle it this way. I'm going to give 3 steps. First step is for entrepreneurs. Being myself an entrepreneur, right? I'm a digital entrepreneur, wherein I do all my businesses digitally today, right? It is very important for us to note that handling finance starts with how you handle your income. Okay? It is not just earning more money. It is actually, once it is earned, how are you actually managing it? Because most of the people whom I have met, entrepreneurs, they're all, either freelancers, digital marketeers, some small agencies, small businesses. I'm not necessarily talking about companies or private limited company or a partnership firm, right? So what typically happens is that, they have a mix of business and personal income together, right? And they need to first take care of all the business expenses, and then finally they see what is left. Okay, let me take care of my personal. No, don't do that. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business person, pay yourself first. When I say pay yourself first, if you pay yourself a salary, fix an amount that every month so much has to be paid to yourself, so that you're able to take care of your personal life better. If you're not able to do that, then there's no point in you struggling and being an entrepreneur. I understand this difficulties involved, but there is a smart way of actually handling it. Step number 1 is that segregate business income and personal income and pay yourself as a salary, whatever that amount is. And step number 2, what I recommend, especially for corporate professionals, is that, hey, can you really control your salary income, like month on month? One month you feel like, you know what, my salary is too less. Next month I want to earn more. Let me increase my salary. Not going to happen. Yeah, you got to wait for the entire process of the yearly, emoluments, bonuses, and raise and all those things, right? That is not something which is actually totally in your control. But what can be in your control is how that money is being utilized. Again, I'm very careful in choosing these words, Abha. It is not the money that you spend. It is how you actually use the money, how we have segregated what money should go where. A portion of it can go for investment, portion of it go for expenses, like that. So there are a lot of formulas, very easy to use and quickly implementable ones, right? That is something which I recommend that corporate professionals should think that, hey, if my outflow is going like this, first of all, understand where it is going. You know what? I'm going to show you something. It might, it'll blow your mind away. There's something called Financial Fitness Analyzer. Okay. What I do is, let's say, if at all you have salary income coming in, we need to segregate between, this is a friendly tracker, okay, which you can actually use it on a daily basis as well. And you can do it at your house. So basically you just put down what are the money is being spent for what, right? Once we're able to segregate this expense versus investments, versus knowing how much fun lifestyle that you are actually spending for, versus how much you're actually investing for your self-education and charity and all those things, that will actually start guiding you on something called budgeting. There are millions of people who speak about budgeting, but you need to have a method to madness. You need to have a structure. That's when things will get taught. Yeah. Step number 3, what I recommend is that you should always be aware. Like I like what you mentioned, Abha, like fitness expert Vivek Gangadhar. Even though I work out and try to keep myself fit, I try to keep myself mentally fit as well as physically fit. Being financially fit also is very important. What do I mean by financially fit? How do you know how fit you are? Let's say if you go to a doctor, okay, you can get a master health checkup done, and they'll be able to tell you various, just by one blood test with various parameters. They'll tell you how is your hemoglobin, how is your fat and liver function, kidney function, heart, all those things, right? Similarly, financial fitness test is something that you need to go through to understand how you are actually handling 9 different areas of money. There are 9 different areas of money that has to be handled by every human being on earth. That's the step number 3, what I recommend.
My goodness. 9 sections. I am just totally, my mind has gone blown away with this. So definitely I have to come to you personally for detailing of all these things. So moving further, you have been in this online space since few years now. So does it really takes a lot for someone to start their business online?
If the same question was asked to me 2 years back, I would have said, what is overwhelming and I'm not sure, I'm scared and all those things. But actually after now 2.5 years, and I have also mentored and coached many people, youngsters also, and at the same time, I learn from them. The youngsters, today's generation, Gen Z and millennials, they're great, amazing. Now, when it comes to ideas and what are the things to do. No, to start an online business or to get yourself online, known as a brand, and provide your product or services, it has never been easier in the history of mankind as what it is today. Because you have tools, you have techniques, you have processes, you have systems, and more than anything, you have good mentors, right? Now, if someone has to go online and check that, hey, I want to earn online, you will get like 1 million results, more than 1 million. By the time you actually go through that, maybe first page, second page of Google, you will check, right? The moment you click on something, what happens is, of course, there are a lot of genuine guys who are doing. For example, me and my mentor, Siddharth Rajshekar. Our community is 11,000 people strong. We believe in actually creating a community and change the education system in India. Okay. By virtue of that, we are actually helping people to become digital entrepreneurs also, right? Because we have the systems. But the moment you go to Google and search for it, one website you open, and for all you know, it will be something sham or a fraud. And the moment you see that, you get a feeling that, what, something is not right. And then, it will fizzle out. That's why it's said only the top 4% of the population really makes a lot of money, because they take whatever it takes to do things. So just to give you an answer in a summary, getting online is the easiest, provided you have the right mentorship, right guidance, and you know which are the systems, tools, and techniques and process to use.
Absolutely. Yeah. So to have right mentors is most important thing when you go for online. So yes, how can a business owner plan their cash flow for next few months or for the entire year?
As a business owner, okay. See, there are various tools. There are a lot of models, cash flow models, projections, as what we call as, right? There are a lot of online tools also that is available. More than anything, whatever planning you do, if your income is questionable, if you're unable to really make that mark that you've been planning to, then there is something fundamentally wrong in the way we're thinking, or there's something fundamentally wrong the way it is working, right? You need to be first aware, get awareness to where exactly, why is your business not getting the right money? Once you're able to figure that out, to manage your cash flow, as I mentioned in the first question, segregate income into what is your business income, take care of the business expenses. There is no negotiation on that, right? Similarly, you cannot put your family at stake because you're doing a business. That's also non-negotiable. So you got to first fragment your mind to the fact that I'm going to segregate the income, maybe as salary. Let's say if someone is doing a business of, let's say, 5 lakhs a month or 10 lakhs a month, right? You put yourself a salary of perhaps 50,000 rupees a month or 1 lakh a month, and you got to live in that. That is one way of managing your personal cash flow. And this business cash flow, you manage this. But there is one secret, Abha, is that there are a lot of businesses today that does not require any fixed cost. Without office rent, without salaries, individually we can do it. And those are the line of businesses that, if at all you're struggling with your existing business, thinking of cash being not coming in, it's time perhaps to actually have an added on business, because all it takes is the first 3 months of hard sweaty work. After that, your cash flow becomes like, if you look at a cycle chain, if it's rusted, it's all cranky and creaky and it's struggling. But if you just put little oil, it becomes a little smoother, and more oil, it becomes smoother. So that oil is very important in your business and in your life, and that can be a second source of income. This is what I recommend.
Great. So what methods are available for business owners to maintain business funds and personal money?
What methods are available? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that I was actually showing a while earlier, maybe I'll go a little deeper and show this. Okay, Abha. Now, what we do in this financial fitness scoring, it's called FinFit Score, is that we first of all segregate, hey, what is your salary income? What's your business income? We segregate this way, not stock market income, right? And what's a professional income? And then income from stock trading, because every one of us are getting into different ways of earning more money. Yeah? And then some people will be having agricultural income. Some people will be just getting income from consulting, freelancing, guest lectures, right? And many people actually earn online today a good amount of money just by doing podcasts, blogs, online, tutoring, coaching, sale of ebooks, etc. Once you actually have this recorded out here, then you start recording your passive income. There are 19 different sources that I have shown here. Yeah. And in our experience, Abha, when our students have gone through it, many of them have actually opened their minds to the fact that this is possible, and they have actually taken action, and they have started to earn these passive incomes. Might not be much, might not be immediate, but eventually they have. Yeah. Once we have this segregated like this, and once you have segregated your cash outflow where it's going for what, then all my analyzer does is it'll give you a score where you're standing. And once the score is established, right, then what we do, it's like this. Okay. What is your highest? Abha, I'm going to put you in the spotlight now. I'm putting Abha in the spotlight. Okay. Impromptu. What has been your highest qualification, Abha?
MBA.
MBA. Okay. What was the scoring like? Is it like on a score of 1,000 or 600, or what was it like grading?
It's like 80% marks, you can say.
Good,
Yeah.
right? Now, if you have got 80%, does it mean it's good or fantastic? Or does it also mean that there is room for improvement?
Of course, room for improvement is there.
That's exactly what I'm trying to drive. Once you get to know your FinFit scoring, if you want to increase the score, we're going to work together on taking meaningful actions, making sure your business is not disturbed, and making sure your personal life also is not disturbed. So we're going to chalk out those actions so that by taking that actions, your score will improve. This score is because no matter whatever gyan and advices anyone gives, including me, numbers never lie. And these are analyzers that will tell you where you are. This is one of the methods I recommend strongly.
Great. I'm just, getting into like deep sea of finances, and my mind is getting enlightened every step you say something new. Wow.
Thank you.
So, we hear a lot of deaths due to COVID. So, still that the things, we are not out of it, and still the things are not under control, and we still hear that deaths are still happening. So what steps do you recommend for people to be prepared financially?
Never, at least in this, the 2000 or, we've had SARS and we have many other pandemics and all that. But I think COVID is something where the awareness is actually included, and it's become a pandemic, right? So worldwide, everyone is affected. And worldwide, when people are seeing deaths, they have realized the importance of emergency fund. First of all, number one, we always have to work towards is always have an emergency fund. Now, what is this emergency fund and how does one create it? And where do they keep this money? Emergency fund is something that you keep aside only in terms of which will be used only for emergency and for nothing else. Let's take one example. Okay. There is, one Shweta, okay? And what Shweta did was that she had like really good financial goals for herself. One of the goals is obviously retirement. Another goal that she had was to actually travel, and she was saving up, saving in the sense, saving and investing that money for that particular goal of financial goal. Then what happened one day, her parents fell sick, okay, and her father had to be hospitalized. And what seemed to be a very simple anomaly actually, came about as like something major, and he had to undergo some operation and all that. Touchwood, now he's hale and hearty and he's stronger than ever. But then what happened was, the cost of that operation and all that was something which they never imagined, which they never even prepared for. No, it came up to around 10 lakhs. What Shweta did, she had some insurance, no doubt, but insurance amount was only 2 lakhs. Who will pay the balance 8 lakhs? Who will pay? No one, right? So what she did, and she's a very strong woman. She doesn't want to ask anyone for money. What she did, she's like, I have kept money aside. I'm going to take it and use it. She did it, definitely. But is it the best? Maybe at that point of time. But could she have done better? Yes. Why? If she had kept aside some money for emergencies only as a goal, financial goal, her dream of traveling wouldn't have got quashed. Yes. Listen, is this Abha? We are humans, okay? And humans are nothing but energy beings. Energy is nothing but, or rather we are extremely emotional, right? Yeah, we are all emotions. We go through a lot of emotions. Emotions and energy are always related. If you have planned for something for travel, and if it does not get fulfilled, right? Or any other life goal that you had planned, if it does not get fulfilled, your emotions go low, your energy goes low, and every other area gets affected. So it is our own duty. No one else will come for this one. It is your duty, every one of you, your duty to make sure happiness is in your hand. And for that to happen, happiness costs money. And for that to happen, you need to plan. So emergency fund you need to keep. Now, when it comes to quantum of emergency fund, Abha, is very simple. Whatever you earn every month, it can be salary income or business income. Okay. Start with minimum 3 months. Let's say, for example, if Shweta was earning around 2 lakhs a month, right? She has to keep aside 6 lakhs. Okay. 6 lakhs aside to take care of only emergencies. Now, way to keep this money 6 lakhs? That has to be kept in a separate mutual fund, liquid fund or something, not in savings bank account, not in FD, not in RD. Okay. Because in our programs we go in deep to each and everything. Will make them understand why. Okay. That's number one to handle financially emergencies due to COVID and all those things. Second thing is have adequate insurance cover. 2018, Abha, I was working in a company called DXC Technology. Okay, and I had great mentors there, great leaders. It so happened that my role got redundant. I was actually asked to take asked to leave. As simple as that. Basically, I got fired, and it was a shocking thing for me, right? And I then applied for many companies. And something happened. Finally, I got into this digital space, and I'm actually glad. But the reality, Abha, is that the moment I got fired, the health insurance, what the company was covering me for, everything stopped. Something had to happen to me and my family. Who will cover that? So don't be reliant only on one health insurance of the company, what employer provides. Take a personal health insurance and take a COVID cover and take a critical illness cover. These 3 things, that is what I recommend.
I can truly understand this thing, Vivji, because I have gone through all these traumatic conditions in past 1 year. So yes, I can truly agree with that emergency fund is important, and yes, we have to keep it separate from all our dreams. Yes. At some places, yes, again, the way you said that some amount of money which I've kept for my dreams or some emotional goals, again, they have also got affected. Yeah. So I can truly relate with what you have just said. So just one step further. Now, after some time, definitely, I'm also going to come into that retirement stage. So when should I actually plan for retirement?
It's an interesting question, because recently I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were doing this entire personal financial planning for him. Okay. What I did was, again, let me show something very quickly. Okay, this might be a little funny. Okay, I always give this example. A cat has 9 lives, so does your money. Okay, what I spoke to you about 9 different areas, right? Abha? Yeah. So what is that? One thing is you need to understand budgeting. Second thing is you need to have financial goals. Third thing is your investments. You got to be very clear. Fourth one is emergency fund. We just spoke about it. Fifth one is the 9th wonder of the world, which is insurance. Yeah. Sixth one is debt planning. Many people don't even plan for the debts, and they just take loans because they want to fulfill their immediate needs. Right? It can be planned very well. 7th one is the most important retirement and succession plan. 8th is a net worth, and 9th is a passive income. Okay, when you cover all these 9 lives is where you attain financial freedom. Do you agree with me? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right?
Of course.
But all these things will, it will get taken for a toss of 2 factors. These 2 guys are dangerous buggers. You all should be very careful about them. But it does not mean that you have to worry. Leave the worries to me. Leave the worries to people like me who will be able to handle your finance. What are those 2 guys? Tax. You got to understand all these things, how tax impacts. Next is something called inflation. Okay, inflation. The reason why I shared this is, when it comes to retirement also, it's very simple, no, Abha? The earlier you invest, let's say if an individual who has started to just work at 21, he has to plan for his retirement right from his first paycheck. Right from his first paycheck. Not later, not after, or not in between, right from the first paycheck. If you're a businessman, it's even more important that, because business by itself has volatility, right? As I mentioned before, you need to keep a salary for yourself. From there, also you need to invest for your retirement. Minimum, I recommend minimum 10%. Whatever money that you earn, 10% has to be set aside for retirement, and that money is not yours. Forget about it. Because that 10% will grow. Why? Because I just mentioned something called inflation. Opposite of inflation is the eighth wonder of the world called compounding. Okay? Compounding is this. You have one and you have a second step. Okay? When you have to move to the third step, it is not just moving from here. This first step also comes up and goes to the third step. And then there's a third step. And then fourth one, all the three go together. That's the power of compounding. That money will grow in such quantum, you'll be surprised how it starts working. Right? So retirement planning has to start right from the day you start earning any type of money. Not when you're 21, not when you're 16 or 15, not when you're 40. Age doesn't matter. The moment you start earning, you do it. Of course, there are a lot of people, Abha, who are 40, 50, they have not done much of retirement planning and they get a little worried. It's okay, you didn't do it because you didn't know. If you know now, start doing now. Something is better than nothing. We have a separate investment planning only for that particular section also. People who are 40, 50, how do we make sure that they get the maximum returns with a limited time? That's a separate vehicle altogether. We can plan, we can work on it. Connect with me for that, definitely.
Sure. So, as I've just mentioned, I am also a salaried person. So, how should I divide my earning in different buckets?
What a question. I always keep waiting for this. The reason is because I also come from a corporate background. I started working in Hewlett Packard, HP in 2003, and then I moved to AXA Group, and then after that, again back to HP and then DXC Technology, and then I also worked for JP Morgan Chase. So I have about 15 to 18 years of corporate experience, and I have worked with my colleagues, and I know what they think and all. So typically, there are just 3 or 4 things that runs in a corporate professional's head. Okay, one is they want to make extra money, they look at stock market. Okay. Second thing is to maximize their cash, they look at saving tax as much as possible. Okay. And third thing that they always try to do is, I need to buy a car or house, how do I mobilize? And then comes the rest of the things. It's time to just change one small switch in the mindset. Okay. First is, boss, I need to save 10% towards my retirement. For a corporate professional, you might be, your company will be deducting around 12% PF. Which is good, yeah. But where does it get invested? Yeah, where does it get invested is most important, because PF returns are good, decent, but it cannot match what you can actually do in an amazing equity mix or an investment mix, which I recommend. Right? For that, go ahead and take another 8 or 10% please from your salary net take home. Let's say if the company is crediting around 2 lakh rupees salary or 1 lakh rupees salary or 30,000 rupees salary per month, doesn't matter. Out of that, 10% take it aside and invest, first of all. Second thing is, take 10% again and invest, but not for retirement, for long-term purposes, long-term goals. What are the long-term goals? Maybe for your kids' education, maybe for your marriage, kids' marriage, or it can also be just to buy a car, planning for a down payment, because car, if you want to buy, if it's costing 10 lakhs, bank might fund around 8 lakhs. You have to put 2 lakhs on, from where that money will come. So you have to save that. And then like that, you have various long-term goals. For that, you need to put 10% aside. So what happened in that 1 lakh that you earn, for example, 1 lakh salary, 20,000 rupees gone. Correct? You're left with another 80,000 rupees. What do we do with that? That now comes a budgeting game. There are various people, various people give various types of budgeting. Do that, this rule, that rule, and all that. But one thing, just to give an example right now, just to give you is, always look at having, I mentioned about wealth, right? Already 10%, 10%, 20%. Then try to see if you can live with 50% of what you earn. Let's say if your salary is 1 lakh, in your mind, it's like, no, my salary is not 1 lakh, 50,000 rupees only is available for me to take care of my necessities, my EMIs, my insurance premiums, and also my day-to-day living expenses, my Netflix subscription, my brand new iPhone, if I have to pay EMI for that, all those things will be part of the 50%. Okay. Then the balance 30% that is left is something that you can actually utilize for your wants. The first is 50% is the needs, 30% is for your wants. Wants can be something which need not happen on a regular basis, but as I mentioned, purchasing a car can be moved from long-term saving to a want, right? And planning for a down payment of a house, planning for your kids' education, all these things will part of 30%. So remember the rule: live with 50% of what you earn. It's going to make you very uncomfortable initially, I understand, and it's going to happen for a few more months. Okay, so for that set of section of people, I have a separate program which I run, where I help them to ease out that pain in their mind about not having sufficient cash. Where I help them to actually start earning passive income. That will really help them.
Okay. So please tell something about that program that you run.
Yeah, sure. So maybe people who are interested to know more about it's basically this, Abha. Abha, you come from education background, right? You have so much of knowledge that you want to give the world. I also have a lot of knowledge that I have gained over experiences in my life. Okay? What we do, from past 12 years, I have been serving a lot of clients, in their personal finance field, as well as their taxation, setting up their businesses, compliances, GST, all those things. These 1,100 people whom I got to know through networking. But if I want to make it really big, and if I want to have consistent income, I can't be relying only on 1,100 people. I need more people. What is India's population? 140 crores.
135 crores, yeah.
135, 140 crores, right? Me, can I serve only 1,100 people in 135 crores? Because my knowledge is the same, no? If I'm whatever I'm talking to you now, how different would it be for me if I'm talking to just Abha, or 1,000 Abbas, or 5,000, or 1 lakh Abbas? It's the same. Yeah. So each and every one of us have unique skills and unique knowledge. Okay. So e-learning industry is what I recommend, Abha. E-learning industry is a $325 billion industry today, as per the Forbes and one more study. Okay. So what I help people is to digitize their knowledge, make it into courses, and sell in a particular system and structure, which will actually help them to build an economy around themselves without any office or employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for details, definitely, friends, I would recommend description box where all the details and credentials are being shared, and you can directly contact to Vivji. Okay. So though I, along with my viewers, feel like this conversation is, should not get ended because it's so interesting, and actually I have started planning things in my mind, but unfortunately we are at the end of our show. So before leaving, just one last question. As we all are using this plastic money, that's our credit cards, being a safety mode of following social distancing nowadays. So can you please just suggest how we can use it effectively, or what are some effective ways to use credit cards?
Sure. Well, if you plan to live your life with a credit card, then I think it's a foolish thought. Okay, credit card is a great friend, greatest friend, but it can become within 45 days the most poisonous enemy for you. 45 days it takes for that friend to get converted into an enemy. Why? Because credit card is the only debt in the world which has the highest interest rate. We are talking about anywhere between 36% per year to 48% per year charges. So it's this, very simple, no? A rule of thumb is this. Boss, you want to go, maybe, you're bored of your phone, you want to buy a new one. Okay, you started to work and you've received a brand new plastic credit card, and it has a limit of maybe 1 lakh or 2 lakhs or 5 lakhs, something. Right? What you do is, you go ahead and, for example, when I got this Amex card, okay, it came with a no limit transaction for me. It's a gold charge card, okay. It came with no limit, right? I can actually just swipe, but I have to just simply pay it back, right? One way is that It is not the question of this card or paying through Paytm or any UPI or you're just making a cash payment. One rule is, if you want to buy something online, let's say Amazon shopping, or if you go somewhere and if you want to buy, okay, you know what? Just tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to buy 100%. I will buy, but I'll buy it after 30 days. Today, I'm not going to buy. At that moment, just want that moment, small switch in your mind, that 30 days. Why it works? There's a science behind it. Put off that particular plan of purchasing for just 30 days. Studies have proven that 90% chances that you will not actually spend that money again. You've saved that money. Okay. Now let's say, even after that, or rather if you fail, it's okay. Human emotions are stronger. If you want to buy something and use your credit card, make sure you have that amount left in your bank account to pay it in 45 days. If not, work with your banker, call them before you swipe, tell them that, hey, I'm planning to buy something which is expensive. I don't have the requisite funds to clear it out completely. I would need you to give me a 3 months or a 6 months EMI scheme. Today, many bankers are giving 0%. Make use of it. The best. Amazing. Right? Never ever get to the mode of making minimum payments to your card. Never ever. Because you're giving 48% of your own money to someone else. Why do you think credit card companies, have you ever thought, why do they say that I'm giving you free of cost? I'm giving you 4,000 points. You can redeem it. Immediately you will get 1,250 rupees something as a gift voucher, Amazon voucher. Why should they give it free of cost?
So that we can develop more, habit of using credit cards. And they are gaining more interest out of that.
Exactly. Because they know that not everyone is in a position to really pay it back. So they're able to earn 48%. You decide, you want to pay 48%. Tell me which investment has given you 48% per year return. Simple math. Yeah. A credit card is nothing but emotion. You keep your emotion at strong, you won.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Vivji, for sharing your such treasured insights on this platform and also devoting your valuable time. It was really an insightful session, and I'm sure my viewers will definitely start planning their finances and keeping themselves financially fit.
Financially fit, yes. Thank you so much.
So here I request again, yes, our audiences to feel free to connect to Vivji for detailed financial planning. His credentials are shared below in the description box.
Yes, thank you so much, Abha. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Just before we close, if anyone is interested to know what are the things I actually offer, as you rightly mentioned, physically fit and financially fit and all that, I combine these concepts, including mentally fit, because I'm a spiritual person. I practice meditations. I practice over 12 different, or rather, I have learned 12 different forms of meditations, but there are some powerful techniques which I really practice. So I combine this financial fitness, physical fitness, and mind fitness into one program called 5 a.m. Club. 5 a.m. Club. Okay, 1 hour, the first hour of the morning, I'm going to take them through a journey. Right, they'll change their life for sure. It's a 5 days program, very powerful one. Next program, the signature program, which right now it's under works, is something called EMI free lifestyle. Zero debt model, EMI free lifestyle. Okay, no matter if you have not yet borrowed, or if you have borrowed and you have loans that you're paying, I'm going to give them a short method where within next 3 to 5 years they become EMI free. It's a guaranteed model. Okay, and apart from that, I do this financial fitness. So these three things are the key takeaways for you to remember Vivji. And also, please, in the bottom you can find me on Instagram and follow me there. I'll be more than happy to serve you, and I'll wait here to do that. Thank you.
Wow. So friends, if you wish to see other episodes of Spotlight with Abha, do click to the playlist coming up on the screen. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel for upcoming episodes of Spotlight with Abha. And yes, don't forget to press the bell icon right there with the subscription button so that you can get an immediate notification of my latest videos. This is Abha Jadhav signing off now. Do take very good care of yourself and your family members, and now your finances too. So do wear mask, maintain social distancing, use sanitizers, keep washing your hands, and of course, now start keeping some funds aside as emergency funds, as Vivji suggested.
Yes.
So, we take your leave from here now. See you soon in the next episode. Till then, bye-bye, namaste, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Bye.